Dahil hindi ka po nanood ng webinar na inilabas ng ating Central Office on IPCRF, ang video po na ito ay para sa inyo kasi iniklian ko na lang po yung 3 days, ginawa ko na lang pong less than an hour para mas mapanood pa po ninyo at mas ma-appreciate po ninyo. At ito pang maganda pong balita. Ako po ay nag-prepare ng IPCRF cover pages for you. Ito for free sa lahat po ng guro na manonood po ng video na ito. Kasi alam nyo po mga kapatid, ang ating trabaho ay sa sobrang dami, sa sobra po ng dami ng ating trabaho ay hindi na rin ho natin maiiwasan na nauubos na rin ho ang ating oras. Kaya I already prepared cover pages for you na gagamitin mo for your RPMS portfolio pagdating ng year end. Okay? Pagdating po ng year end, para hindi na po kayo mahirapan. All you have to do is to watch this video on proficient teachers and highly proficient teachers sa IPCRF at saka sa COT. Pinagsama-sama ko po sa video na ito. Ano ko po malalaman na napanood po natin itong video na ito? Meron po akong inilagay na 10 letters. 10 letters po ito hanggang sa katapusan ng video. Tapos, isi-send nyo po itong 10 letters na ito sa aking email. Ito po ang aking email. Ayan po, dionmayos@gmail.com. And then, automatically, ma-add po kayo sa Google Drive kung saan ang makakatanggap po kayo ng libreng IPCRF cover pages. This is for you, mga kasama ko pong guro. For free.
RPMS 2 for Teacher 1, 2, and 3, the proficient teachers in time of COVID-19, school year 2021-2022. So ito po ang bagong labas na memorandum dated Feb 9, 2022, DepEd Memorandum Number 4, Series 2022, the implementation of the RPMS-PPST for school year 2021-2022. Para mas ma-appreciate pa po natin ang kahalagaan ng IPCRF, ito po yun. The performance period prescribed herein shall be used as basis for the determination of length of service for the purposes of computation of the PBB for teachers and other school-based personnel pursuant to application guidelines. Ang atin pong IPCRF 19 indicators, meron pa pong observable at saka non-observable indicators. Under observable, ito po yung nakikita po natin sa ating COT. Ang objective 1, 3, 4, 5 at saka 6. Habang yung mga hindi po natin nakikita o hindi po na pwedeng ma-observe ay 2, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 at 19. Paano naman po itong nakadilaw po na ito? Ito pong 7, 8, 9 at saka 10. Ito po ay pwede pong observable at saka non-observable. Means of verification for objectives 1, 3, 4, 5 at saka 6 at pwede rin po sa 7, 8, 9 at 10 para hindi po tayo magiging paulit-ulit po mamaya sa mga nabanggit na indicators. Ito po ang mga kailangan nating MOPs. Classroom Observation Tool or COT or the Inter-Observation Agreement Form na nanggagaling sa number 1. An observation of asynchronous teaching. Maaari po siyang limited face-to-face, online teaching, or two-way radio instruction. Kapag hindi naman po pwede ang number 1, an observation of a recorded video lesson or audio lesson that is SLM based or MELC aligned. Pero kapag hindi naman po pwede ang option 1 at saka option 2, pwede naman pong gagamitin ay ang demonstration teaching na ginamit sa LAC. Objective number 1, applied knowledge of content within and across curriculum teaching areas. So ano po ang kailangan natin para makakuha po ng 5 points. So demonstrated 7 points in our COT objective number 1. So ang kailangan po natin MOP ay COT or Inter-Observation Agreement Form. Ano po yan i-compute? Ito po siya. Sa COT kailangan po natin dalawa sa buong school year. So i-convert po muna natin si COT rating, ita-transform po natin siya or i-convert po natin siya sa RPMS 5-point scale rating. Kung 7 point ka sa COT, ang katumbas po niyan sa RPMS 5-point scale ay 5. Kung 6 naman ay 4. Kung 5 naman, ang katumbas ay 3. So, you have to convert the COT rating to RPMS 5-point scale rating, then get the average and tingnan kung ano ang equivalent po niya. Very satisfactory. Objective number 2, use research-based knowledge and principles of teaching and learning to enhance professional practice. So the means of verification is you only need one lesson plan with annotations identifying research-based knowledge and or principles of teaching and learning used as basis for planning designing the lesson. So to get 5 points, use research-based knowledge and or principles of teaching and learning in all the word there is in all the components of instruction in the lesson plan to improve student learning. Ano bang ibig sabihin nitong components of instruction? Ito po yun. Components of instruction meaning learning objectives, the instructional activities, and the assessment. Kaya if you're going to compare 5 sa 4, ang ginamit po dito sa 4 ay teaching and learning in 2 components, while 5 points in all the components. So to get 5, you have to use research-based knowledge and principles of teaching and learning to enhance professional practice in all the components. Objective number 3, display proficient use of mother tongue, Filipino, and English to facilitate teaching and learning. Paano po tayo makakuha ng 5 points? You have to demonstrate level 7 in objective number 3. So 7 points in your COT objective number 3. So yan lang po ang kailangan doon. Maka 7 points ka lang po sa COT ng objective number 3. So the same process po. You have to convert first your COT rating to RPMS 5-point scale rating and then get the average, and then it will be your RPMS rating for quality. Objective number 4, use effective verbal and non-verbal classroom communication strategies to support learner understanding, participation, engagement, and achievement. So your MOV will be your COT, and how to get 5 points, you must demonstrate level 7 or you must have 7 points in your COT under objective number 4. How to get your score? Convert your COT, 2 COTs into RPMS 5-point scale rating and then get the average, and that will be your RPMS rating for quality under objective number 4. Objective number 5, establish safe and secure learning environments to enhance learning through the consistent implementation of policies, guidelines, and procedures. So your MOV will be your COT, and then how to get 5 points, you must demonstrate level 7 or 7 points in your COT objective number 5. Again, you must have 7 points COT objective number 5. So how to get your score in your IPCRF? Convert your COT rating to 5 RPMS 5-point scale rating, then get the average, and that will be your RPMS rating for quality under objective number 5. Objective number 6, maintain learning environments that promote fairness, respect, and care to encourage learning. Your MOV will be your COT, and how to get 5 points, you must have or you must get level 7 points in your COT objective number 6. Convert your COT rating to RPMS 5-point scale rating and then get the average, and that will be your RPMS rating for quality under objective number 6. Objective number 7, maintain learning environment that nurture and inspire learners to participate, cooperate, and collaborate in continued learning. So ito po yung sinasabi natin na may set A at saka may set B. Under set A, any supplementary material made by the RATI and used in the lesson delivery that highlights maintaining learning environments that nurture and inspire learners to participate, cooperate, and collaborate in continued learning. Ito po yung mga kailangang i-prepare. Activity sheets, 1 lesson from a self-learning module, lesson plan, video lesson, audio lesson, at saka other learning materials na kailangang may annotation with clients, learner feedback on how the material encourages the learner to participate, cooperate, and collaborate. So how to get 5? Ito po yun. 5 points. Provide effective and varying learning opportunities that are well aligned with the learning goals and feature all elements of collaborative learning as shown in the submitted learning material. Under set B, classroom observation tool or our COT. So you must have 7 points COT objective number 7. So meron dapat 7 points COT objective number 7 to get 5 points in your objective number 7. So, paano po bibigyan ng score ang set A? Ito po yung sample. Ang set A po ay diretso na po dyan na RPMS 5-point scale rating, get the average, and then that will be the result. For set B, the same process. Kapag COT, convert COT rating to RPMS 5-point scale rating, get the average, and the result will be your RPMS rating for quality. Objective number 8, apply a range of successful strategies that maintain learning environments that motivate learners to work productively by assuming responsibility for their own learning. So, 2 sets again. Set A, any supplementary materials in print digital format made by the RATI and used in the lesson delivery that highlights a range of strategies that maintain learning environments that motivate learners to work productively by assuming responsibility for their own learning. Ito po yung mga kailangan. Activity sheets, lesson plan from self-learning module, lesson plan, video lesson, audio lesson, other learning materials na may annotation. So how to get 5 points under set A? You have to apply effective teaching strategies that are well aligned with the learning goals and successfully motivates learners to monitor and evaluate their own learning as shown in the submitted learning material. Under set D, classroom observation tool or COT, you must get 7 points in your COT objective number 8. You must get 7 points in your COT objective number 8. Paano po ulit i-compute? Under set A, ito po, RPMS 5-point scale rating, then get the average, then it will be the RPMS rating for quality. For set B, convert COT rating to RPMS 5-point scale and then get the average, and it will be the RPMS rating for quality. Objective 9. Design, adapted, and implemented teaching strategies that are responsive to learners with disabilities, giftedness, and talents. So, dalawang set ulit. Set A, you need to have your COT, and to get 5 points, you must have 7 points COT objective number 9. 7 points in your COT objective number 9. In your set B, teacher reflection form. Teacher reflection form, ito po ay tinatawag na TRF. Bago po ito. In the past IPCRF or last school year IPCRF, wala po tayong TRF. So ano po itong TRF na ito? On designing, adapting, and or implementing teaching strategies that are responsive to learners with disabilities, giftedness, and talents, and a certification from school head that the rated classes have no identified learners with disabilities, giftedness, and or talents. So demonstrated level 5 as shown in the TRF. Ipapakita po natin mamaya kung ano ang mga nilalaman ng mga TRF na ito. For the information of everyone, meron po tayo ditong definition ng mga terms sa baba. Please read para makita po natin. Ito po ay tinatawag nating Teacher Reflection Form, TRF, or Teacher 1, 2, 3. So, ang direction po dito ay andito po. So, hindi po lalampas ng 500 words ang isusulat. For Objective 9, ganito po siya. Example, Clara is often seen restless or unfocused in class. She also has troubles following instruction and skips activities when left unsupervised. So, anong ginawa ng teacher? Action taken. You had a conference with her parents and found out from them that Clara was diagnosed with a learning disability. How will you modify the instruction for Clara to keep her focus on classroom activities? Write your reflections in this form. So ito po ang makikita nating form. Medyo mahaba-haba po itong form na ito. Dito po natin isusulat ang ating reflection. Paano naman po tayo magkakaroon ng score sa ating TRF? Ito po ang tinatawag natin scoring rubric or grading the TRF. So focus po tayo sa 5, outstanding, reflections, annotations, and or outputs, example, lesson plan, exceed the expectation of the TRF prompt. They are complete and show comprehensive and in-depth knowledge about the topic, questioned by providing accurate details and some critical inputs or creativity. So, that's 5 points. Paano po tayo magkakaroon ng score under set A? Convert COT rating to RPMS 5-point scale rating, get the average, and that will be your RPMS rating for quality. For set B, direkta na po yan. Kukunin lang po ang RPMS 5-point scale rating, i-add lang po yan, and then get the average, and it will be your RPMS rating for quality. Objective number 10. Adapted and use culturally appropriate teaching strategies to address the needs of learners from indigenous groups. So, meron po tayong meaning ng indigenous groups po dito sa baba. Para mabigyan po tayo ng sample, ang mga indigenous groups po ay pwede hong matagpuan sa Cordillera Administrative Region. Meron din po tayong makikita dito sa part ng Tarlac, Zambales, and some part of Pampanga. Mga Aitas po ang naandoon. Pero ang mga Igorots naman ay makikita sa Cordillera Administrative Region. Sa Mindanao naman, meron naman po tayong mga Badjaus na nakikita po. They are called the indigenous people. We have to respect them. So, dalawa po ang means of verification ng ating objective number 10. Set A. Kailangan po dyan ay COT. You must have 7 points COT objective number 10. So, dapat meron kang makuhang 7 points sa inyong COT objective number 10. Under set B, TRF naman po ang kailangan. Kailangan din po yan na ma-certify po ng school head. So, how to get 5 points? Demonstrate level 5 as shown in the TRF. Ito po ang ating teacher reflection form, TRF for teacher 1, 2, 3, objective number 10. Tulad po kanina, hindi po dapat lalampas sa 500 words ang gagamitin natin sa ating reflection. So, meron po tayong example dito. Below is an assessment activity for a class of 30 learners, 5 of which belong to an indigenous peoples group. Evaluate the appropriateness of the activity to your learners. Write your response in this form. So, meron po tayong set A at set B. For your assessment, research on the following roles in your community by asking your parents or anyone with knowledge on these roles. Choose from set A and set B. Explain why these are important roles. Sa set A, meron tayong mayor. Sa set B, dato or shifting. So, and so on and so forth. Gagawin po dito ang reflections. Okay, paano po magkaroon ng score sa set A? Sa objective number 10, convert COT rating to RPMS 5-point scale, get the average, and RPMS rating for quality. For set B naman, direction na po yan na RPMS 5-point scale rating. Just get the average and it will be your RPMS rating for quality. Bago po tayo magpatuloy, please like and follow our FB page, Dion Mayos Channel. Dion Mayos Channel, huwag pong kakalimutang mag-like and follow. Kung hindi ka pa nagsusubscribe sa ating channel, baka ikaw na po ang 476 nating subscriber. Please subscribe and click the notification bell para updated ka sa lahat ng videos na may kinalaman sa teaching, learning at pagkakaperahan. Maraming Objective number 11, adapted and implemented learning programs that ensure relevance and responsiveness to the needs of all learners. How to get 5 points. Evaluated the adapted or contextualized learning program as evidenced by MOV number 1. What is MOV number 1? Proof of evaluation on the implementation of the adapted or contextualized learning programs. What are these learning programs? Andito po sa baba. Organize and sequence set of strategies, activities and tasks that affect learning that may include but not limited to literacy programs, numeracy programs, strategic intervention materials, enrichment programs, remediation programs, intervention modules, ALS modular programs, SPED programs, and among others. A group of teachers or an entire school may collaborate on a learning program. The implementer or the implementers themselves may also evaluate the effectiveness of their adapted implemented learning program. Objective number 12. Utilize assessment data to inform the modification of teaching and learning practices and programs. How to get 5 points. Implemented a teaching and learning strategy or program using materials based on learners' assessment data as evidenced by a list of identified least or most mastered skills with supporting MOV number 1. What is MOV number 1? O ito po. Accomplishment report for remedial or enrichment activities. Halimbawa, mga remedial sessions, summer reading camp, field area-based reading program. Objective number 13. Maintain learning environments that are responsive to community context. How to get 5 points. Collaborated with the community stakeholder in the implementation or completion of a program, a project, and or activity that maintains a learning environment responsive to community context as evidenced by MOV1. Ano itong MOV1? Ito po. Accomplishment report of a program or a project or an activity that maintains a learning environment. Objective number 14. Reviewed regularly personal teaching practice using existing laws and regulations that apply to the teaching profession and the responsibilities specified in the Code of Ethics for Professional Teachers. Ano po tayo makakuha ng 5 points dyan? Ayan, ito po. Exhibited an improved practice through one's teaching as impact of regularly reviewing one's teaching practices using laws and regulations that apply to the profession and the responsibilities in the Code of Ethics for Professional Teachers as evidenced by MOV number 1. Ito po ang MOV number 1. Annotated video or audio recording of one's teaching that shows impact of regularly reviewing one's teaching practice or practices. Objective number 15. Complied with the implemented school policies and procedures consistently to foster harmonious relationships with learners, parents, and other stakeholders. Paano makakuha ng 5 points? Sustained engagement with the learners, parents, or guardians, and other stakeholders regarding school policies and procedures through school community partnership as evidenced by MOV number 1. What is MOV number 1? Ito po, proof of participation or involvement in a school community partnership for implementation of a school policy or a procedure. Example, certificate as committee member, the narrative report, or the attendance sheet. Objective number 16. Apply a personal philosophy of teaching that is learner-centered. Ano po itong MOV po nito? One lesson plan with annotations explaining the application of learner-centered teaching philosophy. Example, constructivism, existentialism, and others. Used as basis for planning or designing the lesson. So, paano po makakuha ng 5 points? Applied learner-centered teaching philosophy in the lesson plan in all the components of instruction in the lesson plan to improve student learning. Ano nga ba itong mga components of instruction? Learning objectives, instructional activities, and assessment. Dapat po lahat daw po yan. Objective number 17. Adapted practices that uphold the dignity of teaching as a profession by exhibiting qualities such as caring attitude, respect, and integrity. Paano po makakuha ng 5 points? You have to exhibit dignity of teaching as profession by exhibiting qualities such as caring attitude, respect, and integrity with affirmation from different school stakeholders. Ito po yung keyword po doon. From different school stakeholders as evidenced by at least 2. MOV number 1. Dalawa pong MOV number 1. Documented feedback from superiors, colleagues, learners, parents, or guardians, or other stakeholders directly reflecting the latest good practices that uphold the dignity of teaching as a profession. Objective number 18, set professional development goals based on the Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers or PPST. To get 5 points, we must update professional development goals during phase 2 of the RPMS cycle as evidenced by MOV number 1. Ito po. Ang MOV po natin dito ay updated IPCRF DP from phase 2. At bago po ang last objective, meron po tayong bonus po mamaya. Sasabihin po ni Sir kung paano ito at ano ang gagawin. So objective number 19, perform various related works or activities that contribute to the teaching learning process. Ang MOV po niyan ay dapat makapag-perform tayo ng at least one related work or activity that contributed to the teaching learning process beyond the school or community learning center as evidenced by submitted MOV. Pag sinabi po natin beyond, maaaring labas ng school, pwede siyang municipal-wide, cluster-wide, division-wide. Or kung may mas mataas pa. Ano po ang MOV po natin? Proof. Ano po ang proof? Maaaring in a form of certificate, maaaring po in a form of memo. Any proof of committee involvement, advisorship of co-curricular activities, book or journal authorship or contributorship, coordinatorship or chairpersonship, coaching and mentoring learners in competitions, serving as reliever of classes in the absence of teachers, mentoring pre-service teachers, participation in demonstration teaching, participation as technical working group members or others, we have to put annotation. So yan po yung mga 19 indicators. At meron pa po tayong susunod. Ang una po nating objective ay modeled effective applications of content knowledge within and across curriculum teaching areas. So ang MOV po natin dyan ay ang Classroom Observation Tool or COT rating sheet. So may pinagkukuhanan po tayo ng ng COT. Meron po tayong tatlong paraan. Number 1 ay an observation of synchronous teaching. Number 2, if option 1 is not possible, pwede rin po dyan ang observation of a recorded video lesson or audio lesson that is SLM based or MELC aligned. So, ang pangatlong pwedeng pagkuhanan ng COT ay, kung hindi pwede ang option 1 at saka 2, pwede rin naman po ang observation of a demonstration teaching via learning action cell. Ito po ang kakaiba sa mga master teachers. Kailangan po ng proof of attendance of colleagues. So, ibig sabihin po, kinakailangan pong may attendance sheet. So, habang maaga pa, please provide attendance sheet. Yun po ang lagi-lagi pong kailangan. In our school, ito ang pinapractice po namin. Kada magkakaroon po kami ng lock session or demonstration teaching, lagi po kaming may hiwalay na attendance. Bukod pa syempre doon sa attendance po natin na ginagawa na time in, time out. Pero ito po ay tinutukoy po dito ang attendance sheet ay ang actual mismo, halimbawa in a classroom, in a limited face-to-face demonstration. Itatabi po natin yung attendance sheet po doon. Okay? Paano ka makakakuha ng 5 points? So, modeled, ito, naka-highlight po siya. Level 8 in objective number 1 as shown in the COT rating sheet. So, ibig sabihin ng modeled level 8, yan po ay yan po ang pinakamataas na score sa COT. Ang COT ay mula 4, 5, 6, 7 at saka 8. Okay? 8 ang pinakamataas. Ang katumbas niyan sa IPCRF ay 5, 7, 4, 6, 3, 5, 2. Alright, yun po yung mga pagkakaiba or conversion. Okay, makikita natin po dito sa baba. Ilang beses magkakaroon po ng classroom observation? Meron po tayong dalawa lang ang required. Ito po, COT number 1 at saka COT number 2. So, kung halimbawa nakakuha ka ng sa una mong COT, nakakuha ka ng 7 points, ang katumbas niyan sa RPMS ay 4. Kukunin mo lang ang average and then it will be your RPMS rating for quality. Alright? So, kukunin mo lang yan dalawa. Kailangan pong dalawa. Next objective. Pangalawa pong objective. The word is evaluated with colleagues the effectiveness of teaching strategies that promote learner achievement in literacy and numeracy. Ano ang kailangan nating MOV dyan? Ito po. Any supplementary material. Okay? Any supplementary material pwede pong naka-print or digital made by the rating and used in the lesson. Okay, that highlights teaching strategies that promote learner achievement in literacy and numeracy. Yun po. Activity sheets, one lesson from self-learning module, lesson plan, video lesson, audio lesson, other learning materials, and you have to provide annotations. Okay, ito po ang mahalaga. With minutes of focus group discussions or FGD with fellow mentors or minutes of coaching and mentoring session with teachers that show evaluated teaching strategies that promote learner achievement in literacy and numeracy. So, ibig sabihin po niyan, pag may focus group discussion, you have to provide minutes of coaching and mentoring session with teachers. Lagi-lagi po yan. Okay, in the future, ito rin po ay magagamit po ito sa hindi lang sa IPCRF ng master teacher, but sa pangkalahatan, maaari po itong magamit sa school. Maaaring kailangan ito sa MOB sa SBM. Kaya habang maaga pa, gagawin po nating practice na laging documented po ang lahat-lahat. Alright? Paano po tayo makakakuha ng outstanding or 5? Okay, the word is modeled and evaluated with colleagues effective strategies that reflect adjustments or modifications in teaching practices. Okay? To enhance critical literacy and or critical numeracy skills as evidenced by the submitted learning material. Okay? Ilang MOB ang kailangan po natin? MOB number 1, activity sheet with minutes of FGD. Okay? MOB 2, lesson plan with minutes of coaching and mentoring. So, kanina sa objective number 1, meron po siyang COT level. Dito po sa RPMS, direct na po siyang 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Example, 3 sa una, 4 sa pangalawa, you have to get the average and the score is 3.500 and the RPMS rating for Q or quality is 4. That is very satisfactory. Alright, next objective. Objective 3, modeled and supported colleagues. Okay, modeled and supported colleagues in the proficient use of mother tongue, Filipino and English to improve teaching and learning as well as to develop learners' pride of their language, heritage, and culture. So, ang MOB po natin dyan ay ito po ulit. Parehas po doon sa objective number 1. Kailangan po ng COT rating sheet. So, may tatlong pagpipilian, ang option 1, 2, at saka option 3. Okay, huwag kakalimutan, meron pong proof of attendance of colleagues. So, lagi-lagi pong may attendance po ang kasama po natin. How to get 5? Kailangan mong maka-level 8 sa objective number 3 sa inyong COT. Okay? The same computation, ilan ang kailangang COT? Dalawa, COT number 1, COT number 2, and then convert these two scores sa inyong RPMS 5-point scale rating, and then get the average, and then that will be your RPMS rating for quality. Next objective. Okay, objective number 4. Displayed a wide range of effective verbal and non-verbal classroom communication strategies that support learner understanding, participation, engagement, and achievement. Ano ulit ang ating MOV? Kailangan ulit dyan ng classroom observation tool rating sheet na may pwede nating pagkukuhanan. Option 1, 2, or 3 with proof of attendance sa ating mga kasama. Okay, paano makakuha ng 5 points? You have to level 8. Dapat makukuha po natin yan sa objective 4 ng ating COT. Alright? So, the same manner, doon po tayo sa ilang COT, dalawa pa rin po, ang COT number 1 at ang COT number 2. Okay, next objective. Objective 5. Exhibited effective strategies that ensure safe and secure learning environments to enhance learning through the consistent implementation of policies, guidelines, and procedures. So, ang kailangan po nating MOV po dyan ay ang Classroom Observation Tool rating sheet na may tatlong pwedeng pagkukunan po natin. And then, huwag kakalimutan ulit ang proof of attendance of colleagues. So, kailangan po ulit makakuha ng level 8. Okay? Level 8 po yan sa objective 5 na nakikita po natin sa COT. And then, kailangan po dyan ay dalawang COT ulit. Okay? Dalawang COT ulit. And then, convert that to RPMS 5-point scale. And then, get the average. And then, that will be your score in your quality. Okay. Objective number 6. Exhibited effective practices to foster learning environment that promote fairness, respect, and care to encourage learning. So, ang MOV po dyan ay COT ulit. And then, ito po ulit, may pwede po tatlong choices. And then, do not forget, again, the proof of attendance ng ating mga kasama. Kailangan mong makakuha ng level 8 sa objective number 6 para makakuha ka ng outstanding na 5 points. Dalawa po ulit na COT ang kailangan. Convert that COT rating to 5-point scale rating, and then get the average, and that will be your score in your quality. Objective 7. Work with colleagues to share successful strategies that sustain supportive learning environments that nurture and inspire learners to participate, cooperate, and collaborate in continued learning. So, ano ulit ang mga MOP po natin? Ito po. Any supplementary material made by the ratee and used in the lesson delivery that highlights successful strategies that sustain supportive learning environments that nurture and inspire learners to participate, cooperate, and collaborate in continued learning. Ano yung mga kailangan doon? Ito, activity sheets, one lesson from SLM, lesson plan, video lesson, audio lesson, at saka iba pang mga material at kailangang may kalakip na annotation. Ito po ang mahalaga dyan ulit. With minutes of focus group discussions or FGDs with fellow mentors or minutes of coaching and mentoring session with teachers that show sharing of strategies for increased learner participation, cooperation, and collaboration. So, kinakailangan po ulit natin ang mga yan. So, paano po kumuha ng 5 points? Ito po, modeled varying strategies that sustain a supportive learning environment for learners to recognize each other's learning strength and value the contribution of others as evidenced by the submitted learning material. So, ilang MOV pong kailangan natin? Ito po sa baba. MOV number 1, activity sheet with minutes of FGD, and then MOV2, lesson plan with minutes of coaching and mentoring. So, direct na po tayo. Ang score po natin dyan ay RPMS 5-point scale rating, and then get the average, and it will be your score sa quality. Objective 8. Modeled successful strategies and supported colleagues in promoting learning environments that effectively motivate learners to work productively by assuming responsibility of their own learning. So, ang MOV po natin dyan ay any supplementary material made by the ratee and used in the lesson delivery that highlight successful strategies in promoting learning environments that effectively motivate learners to work productively by assuming responsibility for their own learning. Okay, activity sheet, 1 lesson from SLM, lesson plan, video lesson, audio lesson, other materials na dapat may annotation. Okay, huwag po ulit kakalimutan ito. Minutes of focus group discussion, FGDs with fellow mentors, or minutes of coaching and mentoring session with teachers na nakasupport given to them in motivating, okay? In motivating learners to work productively by assuming them for their own learning. So, ito po, dapat nakatali po siya dito sa ating objective. Alright? Tali po siya. Then, paano po tayo makakuha ng outstanding? Okay? Model, discuss with colleagues effective strategies that reflect modifications in teaching practices to sustain learner motivation in monitoring and evaluating their own learning as shown in the submitted MOV. Ano yung mga isasubmit po nating MOV? Ito po. MOV1, activity sheet with minutes of FGD. MOV2, lesson plan with minutes of coaching and mentoring. You have to get the average of RPMS 5-point scale rating. Okay? And then, that will be your score in your quality. Alright, ang objective 9, assist colleagues to design, adapt, and implement teaching strategies that are responsive to learners with disabilities, giftedness, and talents. So, ito po makikita po natin dito, dalawa ang pagpipilian, ang set A at ang set B. Kung magpapa-COT ka, dito ka sa set A. Pero, if you choose not to, dito ka sa set B. Unahin muna natin itong COT. So, tulad po ng usual, ang kailangan po natin dyan ay ang COT rating sheet na pwede po doon sa tatlong option na yan at may proof of attendance ng kasamahan natin. Okay, kailangan mong makakuha ng level 8 in objective 9 sa inyong COT. Paano naman po sir itong set B? Ito po, bago po ito, ang teacher reflection form on assisting colleagues in designing, adapting, and or implementing teaching strategies that are responsive to learners with disabilities, giftedness, and talents. And ito po, certification from the school head that the ratees classes have no identified learners with disabilities, giftedness, and or talents. Okay? Paano ka makakuha ng 5 dyan? You have to demonstrate level 5 as shown in the TRF or teacher reflection form. Alright. Ano po kinukuha ang score dito sa set A? Kailangan po natin ng COT rating 1 and 2, and then i-convert po natin siya sa RPMS 5-point rating scale, and then you have to get the average, and that will be your score in the quality. Pero sa set B, TRF number 1 at saka TRF number 2, and then pupunin ulit natin ang score, and then get the average, and that will be your score in your quality. Objective 10. Develop and apply teaching strategies to address effectively the needs of learners from indigenous groups. So, meron po ulit tayong dalawang set ng MOV. Set A and Set B. Ang Set A po natin ay COT rating sheet na pwede po ulit ang tatlong option. Okay? Huwag kakalimutan ang proof of attendance ng mga kasama po natin. At kailangan mong makakuha ng level 8 sa objective number 9 sa inyong, objective number 10 sa inyong COT. Okay? Objective 10 sa inyong COT. Alright. Set B. TRF or Teacher Reflection Form on developing and applying teaching strategies to address effectively the needs of learners from indigenous groups, and a certification from the school head that the ratees classes have no identified learners from indigenous groups. Okay, how to get again your score? Demonstrated level 5 as shown in the TRF. Objective number 11. Work collaboratively with colleagues to evaluate the design of learning programs that develop the knowledge and skills of learners at different ability levels. So, ang MOV po natin dyan ay meron po tayong 4. Una, new or improved design of learning programs. Pangalawa, detailed recommendations on the design of learning programs. Pangatlo, synthesis of the evaluation of the learning programs. And pang-apat, own evaluation of the existing learning programs. So, paano po tayo makakakuha nitong outstanding na ito? Ito po, work with colleagues in redesigning learning programs based on the list of recommendations as evidenced by MOV number 1. So, in other words, to get an outstanding score under objective number 11, dapat nakafocus lang po tayo dito sa MOV number 1. Okay, yan dapat po ang target po natin para makakuha po tayo ng outstanding score. Objective number 12, work collaboratively with colleagues to analyze and utilize assessment data to modify practices and programs to further support learning, progress, and achievement. So ano ang mga MOV po natin? Ito po. Accomplish LAC Plan, anchored with the school LAC Plan, stated in Annex 1 of the DepEd Order number 35 series of 2016 to analyze and utilize assessment data, modify practices and or programs to further support learner progress and achievement with anyone used in the implementation of the LAC Plan. So, isa sa mga na-utilize or used in the implementation of the LAC Plan. Una, minutes of LAC session on the analysis of assessment data to modify teaching practices and programs. Pangalawa, any proof of collaborative review of learner assessment data. Pangatlo, lesson plan with accomplished part 4 or part 6, the reflection and index of mastery. May test item analysis, list of identified least mastered skills, intervention, recommendation, enrichment, and enhancement. Susunod, pang-apat, any proof of collaborative review of intervention materials developed for remediation and or enhancement. Susunod, accomplishment report of intervention, remediation, enhancement, or enrichment activities. Halimbawa na lang ay remedial session, summer reading camp, field area-based programs. At ang iba, pwede ko kayong magdagdag, you have to provide annotation. Okay? Paano po tayo makakakuha ng 5 points? Objective number 12. Evaluated activities with colleagues by looking for key success indicators sa page 14 of DepEd Order number 35 series of 2016 as evidenced by the submitted MOV. Objective 13, reflected on and evaluated learning environments that are responsive to community context. So, meron po ulit tayo dyan 4 na MOV kinakailangan, pero unahin po muna natin ito kung paano tayo makakakuha ng outstanding score. Sabi po dito, synthesize the evaluations from the wider school community of the programs, projects, and or activities that maintain the learning environment responsive to community context as evidenced by, ito po ulit, MOV number 1. So, ano po ang MOV number 1? Ito po, synthesis of evaluation of a project or program or activity that maintains the learning environment responsive to community context. So, ibig sabihin yan, dapat nakafocus po lagi tayo dito sa objective MOV number 1 para makakuha po tayo ng 5 points. Objective 14, discuss with colleagues teaching and learning practices that apply existing codes, laws, and regulations that apply to the teaching profession and the responsibilities specified in the Code of Ethics for professional teachers. Paano po tayo makakakuha dyan ng 5 points? Unahin muna natin ito. Paano po ng 5 points? Discuss with colleagues teaching and learning practices that adhere to laws, regulations, and responsibilities specified in the Code of Ethics for professional teachers and reviewed the annotated evidence of practice of colleagues as evidenced by MOV number 1. Ano itong MOV number 1 na ito? Ito po, minutes of LAC sessions or professional meetings to discuss the Code of Ethics for professional teachers and the reviewed annotated evidence of practice of colleagues. So ito po dapat ang paghahandaan po natin, okay? Kasi ito po ay naka-align po siya sa number 5. Objective 15, exhibited commitment to and supported teachers in the implementation of school policies and procedures to foster harmonious relationships with learners, parents, and other stakeholders. Paano po makakakuha ng 5 points dyan? Ito po, evaluated with teachers the implementation of certain school policies and procedures as evidenced by MOV number 1. Ano ang MOV number 1? Ito po siya. MOV number 1, evaluation on the implementation of school policies, procedures, or minutes of subject area, grade level meetings, or professional meetings on evaluating school policies and procedures. Objective number 16. Manifested a learner-centered teaching philosophy in various aspects of practice and support colleagues in the enhancement or enhancing their own learning-centered teaching philosophy. So how to get 5 points? Okay, ito po ulit. Evaluated lesson plans of colleagues to enhance their own learning or learner-centered teaching practice as evidenced by MOV number 1. Ano po itong MOV number 1 na ito? Ito po siya. MOV number 1. Sample lesson plans of colleagues with annotations about their enhancing their learner-centered teaching philosophy. So, sample lesson plans of colleagues with annotations about enhancing their learner-centered teaching philosophy. Okay, yan lang po tayo focus kasi yan po ang kinakailangan sa score na number 5 or outstanding level. Objective number 17. Identified and utilized personal, professional strength to uphold the dignity of teaching as a profession to help build a positive teaching and learning culture within the school. So, paano po tayo makakakuha ng 5 points dyan? Sa objective number 17. Ito po, identified and utilized personal professional strength to uphold the dignity of teaching as a profession to help build a positive teaching and learning culture with the school by inspiring unity in responding to potential threats and risks to school community as evidenced by MOV number 1. Okay, ano po itong MOV number 1 po ulit? Ito po siya. MOV number 1. Performance Coaching and Mentoring Form or PMCF showing guidance to teachers and remarks in terms of upholding the dignity of teaching. So, focus lang po tayo dito sa MOV number 1 para makakuha po tayo ng 5 points. Objective number 18. Reflected on the Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers to plan personal, professional development goals and assist colleagues in planning and achieving their own goals. So, paano po tayo makakuha ng 5 points dyan? Ito po, updated professional development goals during phase 2 of the RPMS cycle as evidenced by MOV number 1. Ano ang MOV number 1? Ito po. MOV number 1, updated IPCRF DP from phase 2. Kailangan focus lang po tayo sa MOV number 1 para makakuha po tayo ng 5 points. And the last objective, objective number 19. Perform various related works activities that contribute to the teaching learning process. So, pag naalala nyo po kanina doon sa introduction po natin, thus related works ang isa sa mga duties and responsibilities ng isang master teacher. So, paano po tayo kukuha ng 5 points dyan? Sabi dito, perform at least one related, okay, naka-highlight po yan, one related work or activity that contribute to the teaching learning process beyond, ito po, school, community, learning center, as evidenced by the submitted MOV. Ano ang mga MOV na ito? Ito po, number 1. Unahin muna natin to. Any proof that the master teacher, okay, ito po, number 1, serve as facilitator or speaker. Pangalawa, serve as demonstration teacher. Pangatlo, serve as a member of the technical working group. Pang-apat, serve as OIC in the absence of the principal. Panglima, represented the principal in meetings and conference. Pang-anim, observe classes of teachers 1, 2, and teacher 3. Next, assisted the school selection committee in the evaluation of credentials when hiring or promoting teachers. Next one, serve in a committee. Next, serve as advisor to co-curricular activities. Next, serve as coordinator, chairperson. Next, authored, contributed to a book or a journal. Next, coach and mentored learners and competitions. Next one, mentored pre-service or in-service teachers. At saka iba, you have to provide annotations. So, ang dami pong mga teaching-related works na maaaring ilagay po natin dito, okay? So, kailangan po dyan ng certification from the school head or in a form of memo or in a form of certificate para ma-validate yung mga ilalagay po nating MOV dyan. So, kailangan may memo. Kung walang memo, may certificate. Okay? Alright.
Congratulations mga kasamang guro! Dahil napanood mo ang video na ito, makakatanggap ka po ng IPCRF cover pages libre. Okay? Libre. Both proficient teachers and highly proficient teachers. Para hindi ka na mahirapan. Okay? Para hindi ka mahirapan. All you have to do, buuin lang po yung 10 letters na aking ibinigay sa previous na simula una until natapos po ang video na ito. At isi-send po sa ating Gmail, dionmayos@gmail.com. Okay? Maraming salamat. Sana may natutunan po kayo sa video ito kasi sinimplihan po natin. kaysa manood po tayo ng 3 days na napakahabang webinar. Thank you po ulit.